not that good. Um, all right. Let me first begin, as some others did as well, by welcoming the new staff, administrators, and faculty who joined Molloy College over the past year. Colleges are unique. We're fortunate to have a crop of new freshmen and new graduate students each semester who really come in with boundless energy and all sorts of excitement. But some of us don't always get to work closely with students. But it's really the new employees at the college who really bring us that sense of excitement and energy that sort of re-energizes us. And I do believe that as an organization, to be successful, that influx of new energies and ideas is really critical to moving us forward. So for those of you who've been here for a while, I would encourage you to maybe remember some of the faces you saw earlier today on the video. Those are our new employees. And reach out to them and ask them what it is that they're excited about. I think that contributes to our sense of renewal, to sort of keep with the theme from earlier. I also wanted to maybe remind us all of really how fortunate we are to be here at Molloy and to be employed here at Molloy. This year I've had the pleasure of being a part of the HR group at HR, sort of under my umbrella. And I've seen the hundreds of people each year who throw their hat into the ring to become employees of the college, to try to work here. And it's not just because of the great jobs that we have, but it really is about the community that is Molloy. So I think sometimes in the craziness of what we do with day-to-day, we forget some of that. So I would encourage you to, again, talk to some of those new employees and kind of rethink maybe why you're here and what this is all about for us. With that said, I want to shift my focus a bit to the Simpson compensation study that Drew mentioned earlier. And just to remind everyone here, for those who don't know or maybe have forgotten, what that study was supposed to be all about. It really was supposed to be about two things. First and foremost, it was really designed to look at the salaries of our non-faculty positions at the college to ensure that what we were paying was really in line with what the current marketplace dictates. Second, and in my view most importantly, the study was supposed to provide us with a comprehensive compensation system for now and the future. So it's a system that's going to classify all positions at the college, and most notably will be communicated to all of our employees so we all understand what that system is. Now, in terms of what the study isn't, it's not a way to determine how good people are at their jobs. It's never about that. It's not even a way to determine if we have the right people doing the right jobs or if we have the right number of jobs. At no point did Simpson say to us or look at our organizational charts and say, you have too many employees in Department X, or you should consider moving people from X to Y. It was never that. The point of all this was to look at our current compensation, develop a clear philosophy for how we compensate our employees, and develop a clear communication system for that compensation system moving forward. So here's the question I hear all the time. Why is it taking so long? I get it. It's taken a while. But my answer really is simple. I believe from the outset this was far too important to not do correctly for the sake of expediency. We had to do this the right way. So yes, at times it has taken a bit of time. But I ask you to think about this. One of the things we discovered was we had to rewrite every job description at the college. I looked this week and I counted 250 job descriptions were rewritten during the past few months. And not just rewritten, but then reviewed by HR and then reviewed by Simpson and then revised when necessary. We knew that was going to take some time. We had to do it to really ensure that the compensation that we had was accurate for the positions that we had. So with that, let me say that Simpson has worked with us throughout the summer. Every position on the campus has now been classified. They're going to be here on campus next week to meet with me and Lisa to make sure that all their data is accurate and that that classification system makes sense. So their work really is pretty much at their conclusion at this point. So once that's completed, they're meeting with us next week. My intention is within the next couple of weeks, then the next 2 or 3 weeks, to present to leadership an outline for what the plan is going to be for the future. That's an outline of the compensation plan and an outline for how we're going to provide salary remediation for those positions where the salary may be below what the market value is. I'm going to stop here for a second. Drew mentioned this earlier, but just to be clear, despite whatever budgetary constraints we may have, we have not had a single discussion about removing that remediation pool from the budget. It hasn't happened, not a single time. So my plan really is for the HR team and I to begin going out to the various constituency groups over the next 3 weeks to explain what the findings were from SIPSN and exactly what that new compensation structure is going to be. The goal in terms of the salary remediation timeline is that it coincides with a November 1st date so that all the pieces of our sort of salary puzzle come together around that date. But I'm not looking to spin this. This does not mean that every position at the college is going to get a salary increase, salary remediation because of the SIPSN study. Again, that wasn't the point. And depending upon some of the final costs, some positions that may warrant a slight increase may not be able to be done immediately. But here's my promise to you. We are looking at this honestly and objectively. And we'll do whatever we can to make sure our employees are paid fairly. Again, I'm going to be going out to individual constituencies over the next few weeks, and you can ask me anything you want, as always. I will be honest and clear. I'm not going to spend time talking about conspiracy theories, though. That happens a lot. I'm going to be honest and clear and answer all the questions, okay? The goal of this, again, was to be clear for everyone to understand how this happens and how this works moving forward. So with all that said, every time I've talked to people in the past year about the SIPSN study, there's always some frustration about salaries. But interestingly, I've yet to come up or meet with anyone who said, I came to Molloy to be a millionaire. I haven't had that conversation yet. Maybe one day, but I haven't had that conversation yet. I think all of us honestly are here for other reasons. So while there may be frustrations at times, I know that we're about much more than the money. There's something else in some of those frustrations. And while we can't necessarily address every one of those frustrations individually, I can tell you that the theme that emerged quickly and consistently during the first year working with HR was that our supervisors are often well-trained and experienced at the functions that they're in charge of and at the tasks that they're in charge of, but really have not had an opportunity, or I shouldn't say opportunity, have had an opportunity, but have not been required to go through true supervisor management training. And yet if you talk to supervisors, they'll tell you that supervising people is probably the hardest part of their job. So it seems to me that we owe it to all employees at the college to provide supervisors with the training, as Drew mentioned, that they need to help guide their employees. I want Molloy to be a place where supervisors are not just managers of tasks, but leaders of people. So for that reason, it is a priority this year for every supervisor from leadership team on down to go through a mandatory training this year. And not just this year, but in the future as well. Having a robust employee training program that encompasses technology skills, leadership skills, personal and professional development are also critical to our success. But I want to make sure everyone heard me. Every supervisor is going to be required to go through training. It's no longer an add-on to a supervisor's job. It is part of your job. Okay, so we're going to be putting that together and rolling out that plan very quickly, very early in this fall semester so everyone can see and become a part of that moving forward. And finally, there are some changes that are going to be happening that we've talked about already with restructuring in some other areas, and we may see some other restructuring happening moving forward. But let me be clear, restructuring is not a euphemism for anything. It's truly restructuring to make things more efficient and more effective for our students and for the employees of the college. I do believe that every one of us brings a unique array of skills, talents, and experiences to the college. And our task as leaders is to make sure we put everyone in the position to succeed. So that's what this is all about. Now, let me just say this. For me personally, this year with, again, HR under my umbrella has been challenging. But I've enjoyed learning about the college from a variety of perspectives. At times, I've been in awe of the plethora of challenges that the HR team faces daily. But mostly, I'm, again, deeply humbled that so many of you have come to meet with me in my office throughout the year to express your concerns. And I think you know that I can't solve every problem. And it took me a while to realize that that's not really my job. I can't solve everything. Sometimes I just need to listen, and that's okay. And yes, there may be questions about salaries and benefits and all those sorts of things, but somehow every conversation I have always ends up with people talking about how much they enjoy working with our students and why they're here and how much Molloy is a part of who they are and the sense of themselves. So I just want to say that I'm grateful for those conversations. I want those conversations to continue, moving forward so that I can learn and I can assist. So with that said, I will be out there, and Lisa and I am sure will be out there speaking to people throughout the year, so feel free to ask me questions. But I do want to say I wish you the best for this year, and I thank you. Thanks. So without further ado, I introduce Ed Thompson, Vice President for Advancement.
Good afternoon. I'd like to echo the words of welcome that my colleagues have extended. I don't have a cool falling out of a plane video, but I will tell you quickly how I spent my summer and why I am so glad to be back working in the fall. So I happen to be the coach of my son's 15U travel team, and every single weekend we got to travel 200 or 300 miles to some really cheesy motel somewhere down the East Coast, and I got to chaperone. We play 4 games and then have my boys jump off the roofs of the motel into the small little pool. So we have videos of that, but I'm glad to be back. So I'd like to take a few minutes today just describing for you a new emphasis in college communications. What I'm going to talk about is not just a new ad campaign, but rather a new approach and a new sensibility about how people, especially young people, view themselves and their world. So this new approach is really not new at all. It is the idea of storytelling. But what is new is that unlike in years past, where we would spend lots of time and lots of money telling our story, telling the Molloy College story to our prospective students, now we're going to turn that strategy on its head. So the world we live in today is a world where every young person has their own story to tell. And they do it every day on Instagram and Snapchat, et cetera, et cetera. Technology has transformed not just the ease of communications, but it has really changed the way students view themselves. So I'd like you to take a look at some of these representative quotes. One-on-one communication is desirable among Gen Z students. Students want face-to-face interaction. Having a conversation is the best way to communicate with Gen Z. Face-to-face interaction, while old school, has a lot of authenticity and influence. Students are sick and tired of being blasted with automated messages. And millennials may have been digitally native, but Gen Z is mobile and app native. While millennials carried a planner, looked up numbers in a phone book, Gen Z is more likely to say, there's an app for that. So, what does this mean for us at Molloy College? It means that we are not going to preach from our mountaintop about how great we are and how we're going to change the students' lives. Now, what I just said is a radical statement for a couple of reasons. First, we have, and most other colleges have, done exactly that forever. And second, we actually believe that we are great and that we are going to change their lives. We're a transformative institution. We do that and we believe it. So then why shouldn't we say it? Because this generation of prospective students is very savvy about crafting their own vision. They are less interested in the Molloy vision than how Molloy will work with them to tell their story. So thus, Molloy College is dedicating itself to helping, guiding, nurturing, and educating the next generation to tell their story. We have begun to change some of our themed materials to reflect that change. We're not abandoning our former campaigns that were very successful. We are, however, if you can see it on the screen, we are, however, beginning to fold in these new messages about how to celebrate the stories of our future students. And this is not just a marketing change, this is a concerted effort to reflect changes across society. So for instance, in the development area, we now know that 75% of millennials would rather give to a cause other than their alma mater. Why is that? Because there are many more causes to support today. The United States has added 200,000 new not-for-profits in the last 5 years. Because loyalty to big institutions is down precipitously, the younger generation today does not believe, like many of us did, that large organizations will spend their donations wisely. and because younger generations want to see immediate impact on their giving as they can when they go to a GoFundMe page. So because of all these factors, we are changing some of our approaches to philanthropy. In the development office, we now have what's called a discovery officer. It's new in the field. Our discovery officer is Rebecca Martinez. Her job is to discover the stories of our alumni and to listen more than preach, right? To listen to their philanthropic desires, to listen to ways where their story of their life and their career will connect to the stories of our students. So it's a whole different way of going about development. This is a very different approach than what we used to do before, when we would lead with all the needs of the college and say, please pick off this list. This is not to denigrate our past efforts in fundraising and marketing. They were very successful. Let's not forget that we had 2 very successful capital campaigns here, built the Hagen Center and the Public Square. But the world is changing, and we need to change with it. And we need to remember that it was primarily not our alumni who helped build those buildings. And now we need to do a better job of getting our alumni into the fundraising mix. So coming up in September, my team from advancement and the team in admissions will be trained in new techniques. They're actually called storytelling techniques. And the main point here is that for us to go tell a good story, we first have to listen. We have to listen to our friends, our alumni. You have to connect with them. And we're changing our annual fund campaign. Again, we used to just say, give to Molloy. Now we're saying, their story is your story. The there in their story is all of our students, and the yours, the alumni. So we're making an attempt to say, all the struggles that you had as a student at Molloy, our students today have those same struggles. They're working 2 or 3 jobs. They need financial aid. So we're trying to draw these synergies more directly. So those are just a few things that we're doing new in the marketing area. And we have a lot of new platforms with which to tell that story. So I'd now like to introduce Susanna Stickley, who is our Senior Director of Strategic and Digital Communications on the website and social media. Susanna.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Ed. This is my first community day, so thank you very much for allowing me to celebrate with you. I've been really enjoying meeting so many of you. Oh, thank you. I like applause just for being here. It's so nice. And I look forward to meeting many more of you as time goes on. In keeping with our brand emphasis on storytelling, I titled my presentation, Digital, Social, Website, Intranet, Sharing Our Stories. But I'm pinch hitting for my boss, so I didn't have time to put all my slides together, so only I know that that's the title. But, you know, we do, as Ed pointed out, have so many stories to tell, but also many to listen to, particularly in the digital and social space, which, as we know, is the perfect place for sharing and listening. Following on Drew's point that we want to maintain our warm Molloy culture while clearly delineating our processes, on the digital and social side, we are moving toward a strategic approach from a tactical one. We will continue to respond to day-to-day developments, but keep the big picture in mind. In the social, digital, and website sphere, for us, this means planning in 3-year and 1-year cycles while continuing our tactical efforts day to day. We really want to maintain a unified voice on all platforms, but customize it to meet the expectations of the individual channel audiences, always in line with the Molloy brand. We can best achieve this, we feel, by working closely with our colleagues in marketing and enrollment to define goals, benchmarks, and integrated strategies for success. We're going to increase our emphasis on tracking. Understanding and responding to data will be the common theme on all of our platforms. So great, thank you. That's the website. Our focus is renew and refresh. So we are currently beginning our foundational research and discovery so that we can upgrade, refresh, update our website. Our aspiration is to go forward using a UX design, user experience-based design, as opposed to what we think people want to use. So really listening to what the audience is, and we have many constituencies, as we know, using our website, listening to what they need, and then creating and designing around that. We really want to create an excellent online experience that's responsive to user needs and encourages them to take their next step, whatever that is, an inquiry, to give, to apply. We want to tell our story in a way that these multiple constituents can easily get the information they are looking for through improved navigation, design, and search engine optimization. We are also really dedicated to creating a fully accessible website, along with fully accessible social media platforms, so that all of our audiences can enjoy the experience. Just a practical note, many of you are already using this, but if you are trying to update content or have questions about how best to do that, you can do that through the help desk at help.molloy.edu. That is the best way to reach out to us so we can track it a little better. Moving on to social media, our goals are to become more strategic, more shareable, and more responsive. So we will continue our efforts to stay focused, as I said, on those bigger goals, but customize the methods for each unique social media channel. I think we all know that there are different sets of people who are more comfortable on different platforms, and we have to reach all of them. So we need to do it in the way that they can best respond to the information. We are committed to continuous education on audience needs and trends for ourselves and for all of the social media leads throughout Molloy with whom we work regularly. And we really want to create shareable content. And again, our goals are always that our audience takes that next step. They inquire, they apply, they give, they do what really we hope will bring them into the Molloy community. And finally, going to internal and intranet, thank you so much. We are going to continue and really ramp up our efforts to collaborate with our colleagues throughout the institution to be the digital destination for meaningful, dependable, inspiring information. And we would really like to aspire to become and create a virtual repository for editorial, graphic, video, and multimedia content, an initiative that those who are dealing with these discussions have called the Hub. We are also, again, internally as well, really looking to make sure that the accessibility of content is much improved so that everyone in our community can enjoy it. As Jimmy pointed out, we are very excited. We're getting a new space. So come by, or you can email or give a call. And there will be some vending machines left, so you can come by and pick up a snack too. And with that, I'm so happy to be here. And I want to introduce our wonderful colleague again, Kathy Musenti. Thank you.
Hi again. So I realize that just between me and these next 5 slides, you get to get out of here. So with that, I'm pretty safe in saying that, as you've seen from everybody's presentations, mission's a part of everything that we do. And again, we value relationships, and it's our relationship with all of you that makes Molloy work. So just a couple of things I just want to update you on what's been happening in Mission. First of all, Mission still doesn't have a permanent home. We're working on that. But if anybody needs me or Jackie Williams, Jackie, are you in the audience? Jackie, I think, should have been one of those new people slides, wherever she was. We are currently sharing space with Campus Ministries. I want to thank Kathy Carey and Sister Diane Capuano for opening the doors to us. But we eventually hope to have a mission office to tell you where we are. But I also want to welcome Father Joe Lobo. We have a new chaplain. Father Joe is here. And Father Joe, if you saw my email, Father Joe is a graduate of Molloy's MBA program. He hails from India. He's working, though, in the Diocese of Rockville Center. And he has a wonderful pastor over at Our Lady of Mercy in Hicksville who has been kind enough to say that he will share him with us. So thank you, Father Joe, for being here. So next slide, Karen. Thanks. These are just the 4 topics I just want to talk about: our values and guiding virtues, and the mission ambassadors, and I also want to add student ambassadors. I'll talk a little bit about that. Mission workshops and what we offer to you or have on the agenda for this semester and next semester, and the Dominican charism statement that Drew had mentioned. So as far as the values and guiding virtues, you will see that we have amazingly beautiful artwork that we have been able to take the values and guiding virtues that everybody reviewed, gave us input, or everybody adopted back in the spring, and we were able to transform that into these beautiful panels that you see here. These are available, they're traveling panels. If anybody ever wants them for a presentation in their classrooms, for anything else, please let us know, you can use them. They are also hung, we got really big ones, and we hung them in the foyer of Kellenberg Hall. We do believe that on those beautiful marble walls, they were made for those banners. That looks beautiful. We'll have some in the Anselmo room, but we want people to get used to seeing that this is what Molloy stands for, our values, guiding virtues, and it stems from our mission statement, and then the piece that brings it all together that actually is the crowning piece will be the charism statements that kind of that everything trickles down from. But you'll also see, I just want to point out that we've changed some of the colors and artwork in the 4 pillars, and we do have new mission statements. You'll see those around campus. We've actually ordered more. If you want a mission statement for your office, please let us know. We will send that over to you. And I want to thank, you'll see some even in banner form, which these student media did for us, and I want to thank them for doing that. Next, we have the mission ambassadors. We have worked for the past 2 years with a wonderful, dedicated group of mission ambassadors. We added some other people last year. If you're interested in being a mission ambassador, these are some dates. We're going to be doing some training, conversation about what being a mission ambassador is all about. You'll get more information. We'll send it out an email about the times and dates. But right now, if you are interested, please email mission@molloy.edu and let us know if you would like to get involved. As an addendum to that is I want to let you know that in addition to the affinity groups that Janine mentioned, we also have 2 mission scholars that are part of those affinity groups, and they are going to be our first student mission ambassadors, and we will be adding to that with our students so that they are able to talk amongst themselves about what it means to be at Molloy and what our mission is all about. Next is some of the workshops that we have planned this year. This past June was the biennial Dominican Colloquium, where all of the colleges, Dominican colleges in the United States, there are currently 16, that our faculty, staff, and administrators from those institutions could get together to talk about what it is, what their mission is like on their campus, what it means to be Dominican. And we had wonderful presentations from our faculty. There was 8 presentations from Molloy at that colloquium. I have asked some of those faculty members to present their workshops here on campus. The first one is going to be the nursing faculty did a workshop on their Jamaica program and how it ties to mission, and that's going to be on October 31st. So you'll also hear more about that, and then we will be adding more as the semester goes on and also into next semester. I also am very excited, and you would have seen on the invitation from Drew's office about our collection for the Martin Luther King Day of Service. I want to thank Lisa Newland. She is not here right now. Melissa Jebbia. Melissa, are you here? Melissa and Lisa brought together a group of community-minded people about this Martin Luther King Day of Service. It's actually going to be on 1/21/19, and yes, the school is closed. But no, it should not be a day off, it should be a day on. And we are taking that to heart, and we are planning an amazing day for everybody to participate. So if you would like to be a part of that, please join us. We are also going to be doing this, currently this ask for supplies for that you saw in the invitation. You'll hear more about that. We are also, this is really exciting, so if you're a knitter or a crocheter, if you want to do 1-foot by 1-foot panels for us, we are going to be collecting them during this entire semester so that on the day of service, one of our on-campus workshops is actually going to be bringing those panels together to make Afghans that we can send to an organization that distributes them to chemotherapy patients around the United States. So we are doing a compilation of a whole bunch of things. We're actually also going to be offering off-campus service programs. So you'll hear more as the semester goes on, but I wanted to make sure you were aware of that. And then I did mention earlier that there had been a study done last year. We had gotten a grant, that's Melissa McCardle and Amy Myers, on diversity and inclusion. They came up with some interesting findings, and also through Drew's 2020 task forces. There was one on diversity, and we're going to bring that all up under the umbrella of mission and start to implement some of the findings of that study. So I thank Melissa, I thank Amy for the work that they have done, and the students. You saw Afsha was part of that group, Emily Brierly, who you know, was part of that group. So it was really fascinating information that they've been able to compile for us. I do also want to just mention the reason the Fanjeau pilgrimage is on this. I just want you to be aware that while we have always been invited the 20 some odd years, it is now going to be housed or hosted or put together by Molloy under the Office of Mission. So those of you who have traveled to Fanjeau, I'm going to be looking to you to give me some of your thoughts, insights as we make the program bigger and better for the next, hopefully not 20 years, next few years. And then lastly, about participation, next Tuesday is the anniversary of 9/11. We traditionally do a concert. I ask you to share your talents, especially you new people. If you have a musical talent, you like to sing, you like to dance, I don't care. Please come and share it with us during our September concert, because it's all about lifting our spirits, lifting ourselves together, and commemorating the day. So I hope you will join us for that. And then the last slide I have is about the charism statement. So again, as Drew mentioned, a few of us got together, in Drew's office with some of our Dominican sisters, our partners, and we talked about taking these values and guiding virtues that we all looked at, talked about, put together, looking at our mission statement, which talks about transformative education, valuing, truth, searching for truth, being lifelong learners. How do you put that all together in a very succinct statement so that if somebody said to you, and I believe actually the initial question came out in the JED-N committee, is, well, what is the Dominican charism at Molloy College? So this is what we have come up with, that the Dominican charism at Molloy College, that we, as members of the Molloy College community, steeped in the spirit of St. Dominic de Guzman, we strive to act with integrity, live in right relationships, speak truth in love, as we respond to the signs of our times. So that's the statement. When we do our workshops, we actually will ask you to participate in conversations about that. If you have other input, we will be circulating that, and we look forward to be able to adopt this in the spring once we've had a chance to all be clear on what it is we're trying to say about Molloy. But I thank you for everything that you do. It is going to be an amazing year. I thank Drew for his inspiring words. I know that we are resilient, we're responsive, and that we all have a sense of renewal. So thank you very much. Have a great semester and a great year.